You never know what to expect at the car boot. You can have good days, you can have bad days, and then you can have days like this. The definition of an average car boot in the UK.
Pick up! Building the gangster! Rush tricks! Live game hunting!
Hello again folks and welcome back to another live game hunting video, and we are back once again at my favourite place to hunt for all things video games, Arminghall Carboot on the outskirts of Norwich. And even though the season is slowly drawing to an end, the hunt never ends. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now to the car boot. Here we go then, bright and early on a Sunday morning, once again at Arminghall Carboot. And what a glorious Sunday morning it is, and let's hope for some glorious finds here at the car boot. As well as collecting video games, I also collect CDs and vinyls, and I don't think there's a better place to pick up cheap CDs for your collection than at the car boot. But comment down below if, much like myself, you collect CDs still in 2024. But of course, at the car boot, we are mainly looking for video games to either add to the collection or to flip into CEX. And one of my favourite franchises for flipping into CEX for in-store credit is of course the Call of Duty franchise. But the pricing for these games, especially for trading, goes up and down like a fiddler's elbow, so make sure you keep an eye on those prices. Nowadays, at every single car boot you visit here in the UK, you will find these littering stalls. Funko Pop vinyls. They are literally everywhere. I reckon there is more Funko Pops on this planet than there is people. And yes, I do have a fair number in my collection, I am sad to say. And spoiler alert, coming up I will be adding a new Funko Pop to my collection. But this is something over the course of 2024 which I've picked up more and more here at the car boots. Controllers, specifically PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers. Now, previous years I wouldn't have taken a risk on these, but if I can pick them up cheap, I will take the risk. I did pass on that controller simply because it didn't have the serial number, thus I couldn't trade it into CX. But comment down below if you would have grabbed it. These are the kind of boxes and bags I love to see at the car boot. Just boxes of DVDs, games, Blu-rays, and it's just a potluck if you can find anything in here. Like I said earlier, it's always worth keeping an eye on the Call of Duty games. Unfortunately, Call of Duty Modern Warfare has dropped in value, so I did pass on those. But you never know what you're going to find in these boxes. And this is the thing, you just have to get stuck in, dig around and see what you can find, and hopefully you strike gold. It was starting to look like today was going to be a very Xbox 360 heavy kind of day. And here's the thing I've said multiple times before, the car boots are the best way to build an Xbox 360 collection on the cheap. That's because more often than not, you can pick up these games for 50p or £1, but these prices are not going to last forever. I'm always on the lookout for weird and wonderful items at the car boot, especially when they're crossovers between movies and video games. Now, if I can grab this cheap, I'd love to add it to the collection. How much you got on that one? £2. Do £1 on it at all? Now, this next stall had some very interesting bits, some retro Star Wars items, some games, and just some random car boot paraphernalia. But it was the seller on this stall that won the day. I wish I'd caught this on camera. This guy was one of the best salesmen I've ever met at the car boot. I asked him how much in a moment a game was, and he convinced me to buy the game, even though I already own the game and know it doesn't exactly hold much value. The passion with which he spoke about Dishonored 2 was absolutely incredible, especially this early on a Sunday morning. I know one, buddy.
Quid, mate.
Quid, yeah. Now, of course, that wasn't how he sold the game to me. He went on a very enthusiastic rant for about 5 minutes about how great Dishonored 2 was. And honestly, it made me want to jump back into that game franchise and start it again from the start, just because he was so incredibly excited about that game. But moving on, I managed to find his PlayStation 1 controller. Let's hope we can grab it cheap. How much your PlayStation controller?
That's £3, mate.
Did you do 2 on it at all?
I'll do £2.50.
For £2.50, you can't really go wrong with a decent working PlayStation 1 controller. And honestly, you can never have enough controllers. Moving on, there's some graded Pokemon cards here. Some comics, not really something I'd normally pick up, but definitely cool to see. Like I said earlier then, at every car boot here in the UK, you will see these littering stalls. Funko Pop vinyls. Now, of course, I know some of these can be very, very valuable, but I just don't know what I'm looking for. I would normally pick these up if they are cheap and they are cool characters which I need for my collection. Normally video game crossover ones, even though these Simpsons ones were very, very cool. But comment down below which Funkos I need to be on the lookout for. How much are your games down here?
We're trying to get rid of them.
Yeah, I'll do a quid on that one if that's cool.
Yeah, happy days, mate.
Nice easy CEX flip there, quid for a game, trades in for £4. But moving on, we are on to one of the biggest stalls here today at Arminghall Carboot, and this stall was absolutely packed with video games. And when I come across a stall like this, I like to build a bit of a bundle, because bundles mean bargains. The more games you can bundle together, the better deal you are more likely to get. And they had a really good selection of games here for all consoles, and more interestingly, some really good accessories. So let's start to build a bit of a bundle here. And there's a lot to pick between, but yeah, there's some really, really good titles here and games that are sorely missing from my collection. So if I can pick these up at a bundle price, I reckon we could get ourselves an absolute bargain with this bundle. But it wasn't just games they had for sale, they also had accessories. And an accessory I've been looking for a very long while. This PlayStation 2 arcade stick. And this thing felt meaty. It felt like the real deal. It was heavy. It felt absolutely perfect for that arcade home experience. And I've been looking for a decent arcade stick for the PlayStation 2 for a while, so I can play one of my favourite fighting games of all time the way it is intended to be played. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Now, unfortunately, the seller had just popped out to get a cup of tea, so we'll have to come back and see if I can make a deal on those items in a moment. But heading on, I found a couple of Xbox 360 controllers. As we all know by now, if you can pick these up cheap enough, you can trade them into CX, much like Minecraft for the Xbox 360. But unfortunately, these items were a little bit too highly priced, but it's always worth keeping a lookout at the Carboot for cheap 360 controllers. And of course, I'm always keeping a lookout for cheap Xbox 360 bangers, which I'm missing from my collection, and this one is sorely missing from my collection, so let's hope we can pick this one up for a decent price. Let's find out.
£2 for the games.
Would you £1 on that one at all?
£1.50.
I didn't get very far until a seller returned with his cup of tea back to his stall, so let's just make sure I haven't missed any games here. When I'm at the car boot trying to build a bundle, the bigger the bundle, the better. At the end of the day, a lot of people are just trying to get rid of their stock, and the more games you bundle together, the better price you're likely to get. I find if you bundle together 1 or 2 games, you're probably going to save just like a quid or something. But bundle together 5, 10, 15, even 20 games, and you might get an absolutely incredible deal. Unfortunately, this time I didn't find too many games to bundle together, but it's definitely a case of quality over quantity. We did talk about some prices on various games, but I was trying to build myself a bit of a bargain bundle around that arcade stick. And I was very tempted to pick this one up, and I did manage to put this one in the deal because I've never seen this game before for the Nintendo Wii. You know by now I'm a massive TMNT fan, but I haven't jumped into the Mutant Mayhem figures just yet, so I was really happy to pick up this talking figure for just a quid and kickstart this new collection. Like I said earlier, boxes like this are one of my favourite ways to hunt at the car boots. Yes, 9 times out of 10, these are full of tiles which would normally trade into CEX for 1p, but you never know what's going to be hiding beneath these titles. And at the end of the day, no game is truly valueless. All games hold value to someone, whether you're looking just to boost your collection or to start collecting on a budget or just enjoy going back and playing some of these older sports games. These games all hold value. Most of these games still stand up. And if you were looking to build a collection on a budget, this could be one of the best ways to do it. But a golden rule when you are hunting at the car boot, always check your discs. I'd have been gutted if I'd picked up this copy of Bully for the Wii and not checked the disc and taken home an empty box. That was a real shame, as honestly, especially on the Wii, it's a super fun game. Next up we have a Funko Pop. I really need to stop picking these up, but maybe if I can get it cheap, maybe I'll grab it. That one, buddy?
£3.
How much? £3. Would you do 2 on him at all? So £3 offered for this Funko Pop. Maybe I'll pick it up, maybe I won't. I guess time will tell. You'll have to stick around to find out. Some pretty cool and pretty random retro bits on this stall right here. We got some vintage TMNT figures, but I think I already had these in the collection, so I did pass. You can see South Park script there. Some really random items here, some really cool bits. I still think this Turtles series is somewhat cursed. I've never watched it, but honestly, judging by the cover, I don't know if I want to. Next up, we have a board game. And this is actually a board game I already have in my collection, Fireball Island. It's a fantastic board game, but I was tempted to pick this up to flip because it was only £2, but the eBay sold listings were all over the place, so I did pass. But comment down below if you would have picked that one up and taken a chance. Moving on, lots of games here, but nothing I really needed. I often see stalls like this which are just piles of video games, and honestly, more often than not, there's a lot of filler and not a great deal of killer. I was looking at these controllers, they were third party, so I wasn't overtly interested in these ones. But at the end of the day, it's always good to see video games at the car boot because you never know what's going to be hiding there, but unfortunately, nothing this time. Let me know in the comments down below if you would have picked up this Nintendo DS Lite bundle. It's complete in the box, albeit pretty bad, with a selection of games. Now, you'll find out the price of this bundle in a minute, but start to think now how much you would pay for this box of games and the console. Now, of course, we all know you can flip these consoles into CX for some decent credit, and the price is now coming up, and see if this price changes your mind. 25, thank you. So comment down below if you would have picked up this console bundle with games for £25. We were coming to the end of the car boot, but none of that mattered as I had managed to find all of the Infinity Stones and completed the Infinity Gauntlet. As always, I am inevitable. As a Star Wars fan, this is something I've been tempted to pick up many times before because I always see this toy on offer on Amazon, Smith's Toys, any kind of budget toy selling website. I haven't picked it up yet. I was a massive fan of Star Wars Obi-Wan, so definitely in the future I'll grab this one. There we have it then, folks. That was another week at Arminghall Carboot, and what better way to spend a Sunday morning. We've got some awesome items for the collection, so let's take it back to the games room. Here we are then, back in the games room from the car boot. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was quite simply average. But fear not, we do have some above average, pretty awesome pickups for the collection. First off, we have this Tomb Raider companion book for the Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie. I kind of like crossover movie video game items like this, and for £1.50 I was happy to add this one to the collection. Next up, we have the classic PS1 non-DualShock controller. Yes, these controllers originally did not come with analog sticks. This is the OG PlayStation 1 controller, and still to this day one of my favourite controllers of all time. I picked this up for £2.50. Yes, you can get these in CX for just £3, but honestly, like I said in the video, you can never have enough controllers. Let's get into some video games, and first off we have this copy of Dishonored 2 for the Xbox One. I wasn't sure if I already had this in my collection, it turns out I do, but the passion with which the seller spoke about this game, they really liked this game and managed to sell me a game which I already own in my collection. But again, that guy, if he doesn't work in sales, he needs to. He sold me a game I already own. It was only £1, so I'm not overtly concerned, but yeah, he really loved Dishonored 2. Whenever I'm at a car boot, there always seems to be a theme to the items you keep seeing, and today's theme was definitely Xbox 360 games. And I was super happy to see this game, Test Drive Unlimited 2. Now, I've only played the first game in this franchise, and I remember when I played it when it first released, I was absolutely blown away. It is essentially an MMO for cars, which back then blew my mind. This was years before Forza Horizon, and I know there's a new game coming up in this franchise, and honestly, I'm super excited for it. So comment down below if you're excited for the next installment of Test Drive Unlimited. As a TMNT fan, I cannot believe it's taken me this long to pick up my first Mutant Mayhem figure with this RAF figure, which I paid just £1 for, and yes, this talks.
Turtle power! We're ninjas!
Now, fun little story with this one. This actually fell off in the car and got stuck under the seat, and it was going off for days. We had no idea what was going on because basically if you touch the arms, it keeps talking. It was kind of getting trapped like this, continuously talking in the car. We couldn't find it. It drove us crazy for about a week. But yeah, this is the first Mutant Mayhem figure I've added to my collection, and hopefully the first of many. Let's get into our big bundle deal then, this time at the Carboot. And I paid £15 for this bundle. And it goes to show bundles are the best way to get a bargain at the Carboot. So I picked up 3 games and a PlayStation 2 arcade stick, once again for just £15. So first off, we have Rogue Trooper Quartz Zone Massacre for the Nintendo Wii. I've never seen this game before for the Nintendo Wii. I presumed it's quite rare. It's only a £1 game in CX. It's just one I've never come across. So £1 value in CX there. Next up we have Jurassic World Evolution for the Xbox One. Mainly because I've only played this game on Games Pass. This game will set you back in CX £6. We've got £7 worth of games so far. But the final game here is Need for Speed Payback for the PlayStation 4. This is a £15 game in CEX. I did not realise this at the time. This is just a Need for Speed game I needed for my collection. So just in these 3 games alone, we have 15, 16 and £22 worth of value already for this £15 Carboot bargain bundle. Which brings us on to the main event of this bundle, the Shadow Blade arcade stick for the PlayStation 2. Now, I've been looking for a decent arcade stick for the PlayStation 2 for absolutely ages to play my favourite fighting game of all time, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and this thing feels really professional. It feels heavy, it feels meaty, it just feels like it is made with care, love and attention. I cannot wait to jump in and play some fighting games on this absolute beast, which I picked up in this bargain bundle. So remember, I paid £15 for this bundle. The games alone were worth £22. The sold listings for this on eBay, I couldn't find any. There's active listings for about £20. So essentially for £15, I've near on tripled my money on this incredible Carboot bargain bundle bonanza. Try saying that fast a few times after a few drinks. Which brings us on to our final pickup, and I keep saying it every time, I'm going to stop picking up Funko Pops. But it just keeps happening. Here we have the V-Mail from Cyberpunk 2077. I am a sucker for anything Cyberpunk 2077. It just seems every time I find one of these pops, it just magically seems to come home with me. I can't help myself. Maybe I need help, but some small part of me still truly loves these strange little collectibles. There we have it then, folks, another Carboot in the bag, and it goes to show, even though it was an average day at the Carboot here in the UK, I still had an amazing time and picked up some amazing bits for the collection. But let me know in the comments down below, what is your most average Carboot find of all time? Not good, not bad, average. Comment down below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and until next time, keep playing the game. See you soon.